Well, we're back in New York.
Yeah, we went to North Carolina.
We did, but we're back.
We're back.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was like a 2-day trip that we maybe spent the majority of in LaGuardia Airport.
Yeah. Yeah. Just a little 17-hour delay.
Yeah.
I love telling people
Yeah.
this story. They get so, like, the amount of, like, righteous indignation that comes out of people when I tell them 17-hour delay. They're so ready to get angry with me.
Yeah, I mean, every comedian likes to talk about airports and planes and things. I was trying not to get into it. I was like, oh, I want to talk about Charlie Kirk, but Dropper was like, no, we're keeping it light.
All right, a little bit too much of a peek behind the curtain for my comfort. And I didn't say it in that tone either.
He's an American hero. He did politics the right way.
Okay, that's insane. But more importantly, I do not speak to my partner in that tone. No. Silence. I just thought that, there's enough Charlie Kirk discourse. Especially, this is going to come out on Wednesday. So by that time,
Yeah, no, people are over it.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. But the airport, well, what was... I thought going to be exciting about LaGuardia was that we were in Terminal B, so that's the one that has the fountain, and you walk in and they're playing "Start Spreading the News," and I was really excited, and Joffer was kind of like annoyed at how excited I was to be in the airport because I was really having a great day there.
This is our dynamic in general. I'm like a grump.
Yeah, I'm kind of
Kelly's
like a SpongeBob.
constant beacon of positivity, and it's a little fun back and forth we have.
I was really excited, and I was like, wow, we're really in the best terminal. We're going to have such a fun time. And, I should have, knocked on wood or something, because then we were there so long that they made us leave and sleep in the baggage claim and then come back, check in again.
And by leave, I'm glad you clarified. They didn't make us leave in that they got us a hotel and they were like, go sleep at a hotel. They were like, leave this part of the airport and go to this other part of the airport.
Yeah, go to the public part.
Yeah.
Where you sleep, you find a spot in baggage claim, and you kind of try to claim your area that's like, I'm sleeping on the floor here. But then for some reason, a guy sits right where I was sleeping on the floor, and a guy sat right by my head and put his feet on my head.
It was ridiculous.
And then another guy started washing his feet right next to us.
Yeah. Well, the first guy, it was sort of an unwritten, obvious rule. Like, we had our little corner. Yeah. Me and you, obvious couple. We have our stuff down. There's 2 chairs, and I'm in one of them, and you're on the ground sleeping. And he was just like, oh, open chair. And he sat literally in between us. And yeah, his feet were by your head, which you eventually realized when you woke up. And then the guy behind us brought that like a foot massager, like a water-based foot massager, and was bubbling away. It was ridiculous.
And I really was too defeated to move away from either of them. You kind of moved away, and then it was just me and them and the feet.
Yeah.
You were working on your computer.
I was working on this bullshit.
Then we got back in the airport, and the fountain was playing again. I started to realize it only plays that one song. Mm-hmm. And then it was like a Twilight Zone episode. Like, just keep walking through, it keeps playing that same song. You're never gonna leave.
Yeah.
But we made some friends along the way.
Did we?
That one lady who I did her tarot.
Oh yeah! Wow. Yeah. She was crying. She was in tears.
She was afraid to fly because she said the last time she almost flew, she had a psychic premonition about 9/11, and then she didn't fly. And this was her first...
It was the craziest thing I heard in my life.
It was her first time almost flying. And she normally drives back and forth with North Carolina because she's afraid of, her 9/11 prophecy. And I told her, I was like, I prophesized 9/11 too.
You did.
As a child.
Yeah.
But look here, I'm getting on the plane.
Yeah. How did I forget? I witnessed the craziest conversation I've ever seen in my life. And then you did her tarot cards, and then she was like... I get up to go use the bathroom. I come back. Your tarot cards are out. She's literally has tears streaming down her face.
Well, if she's listening,
hour 12.
I love you. You're a friend forever.
Yes.
She was really nice, and she said she felt like the delay was worth it for our conversation. So I thought that was sweet.
Well, good for y'all.
Yeah. She did say she'll keep up with us, so if she's listening, I hope she knows I'm not trying to make fun of her.
Yeah, just me.
I really do, tarot, and I believe her about the 9/11 thing.
It's very true about Kelly. Kelly did have a dream about 9/11 before 9/11 happened.
Yeah, well, that's what my mom says. She said I don't really remember it, but my mom said I walked in her room and was like describing 9/11, and then she said on 9/11 I walked in her room again and said, "The dream stopped, Mommy." I don't remember that at all.
Yeah,
But it sounds possible.
Yeah, that's terrifying and crazy.
She said I used to do stuff like that. I would go in her room and say little prophetic stuff. So.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But we made it back to New York. Well, let's start the show.
Okay.
Welcome to the podcast. Some of the Patreon subscriber, more loyal listeners might have picked up on the fact that Ashton Womack is Kelly Bachman this time around.
Yeah.
Great comedian. Close person to me in the fact that we are lovers who live together.
Lovers.
Full disclosure, full transparency.
But as usual, I'm wearing a pair of sneakers that Ashton bought me. This time, the Air Force Ones he got me in 2022, one of my favorite Ashton pairs.
Yeah, at a certain point, I got to start buying you shoes. It's getting out of hand.
That's Ashton's role in my life.
I don't know if I agree with. I don't know to the extent I agree with that role. I'm cool with a couple pairs, but I'm gonna buy you your next pair.
Okay, I'm looking forward to this.
Good. Well, let's see. Welcome to the show. Let's start with, this is KAWPS The Podcast. Let's start with our headline roundup. Here's a little snapshot of what we let the police do to us in America last week. Starting off, ICE cops in Chicago fatally shot a man for resisting arrest. R.I.P. Silvero Villegas-Gonzalez.
Cop in Richland, Washington is charged with vehicular manslaughter for drinking, driving, and crashing into a motorcyclist. Rest in peace, Jose Sanchez.
Cops in Philadelphia are facing a lawsuit for fatally shooting a man as he approached an off-duty cop's stalled car on the side of the road to help. R.I.P. Robert Jones.
Cop in Orange County, Florida, shoots the homeowner after he called 911 to report a home invasion.
Cop in Flagler County, Florida, accidentally shoots a child while target practicing in his backyard.
Cops in Oklahoma are facing a lawsuit for shooting a man who was attempting to save a gunshot victim.
Cop in Long Island kicks a handcuffed man.
Cops in El Paso beat up a handcuffed man.
Jail cop in Faulkner County, Arkansas, arrested for sexual assault.
Cop in Gresham, Oregon, arrested for child sex abuse.
Cop in New Hampshire indicted for child sex abuse material.
Cop in Colorado arrested for child sex abuse material.
Jail cop in Alabama is arrested for child sex abuse material.
Cop in McAllen, Texas, charged with child sex abuse material.
Jail cop in Blount County, Tennessee is arrested for child sex abuse material.
Cop in Oklahoma City convicted of child abuse.
Cops in Henderson, Nevada shoot a dog.
Cops in Hertford County, North Carolina shoot a dog.
Cops in Hawaii leave their canine in a hot car until it dies.
Cops in Houston are facing a lawsuit for handcuffing a woman while trying to search for her husband, stealing her house key to search her house without a warrant, and then wrongfully imprisoning her for several days.
And cops in Tuscola County, Michigan, force an elementary school to evacuate after discharging their expired pepper spray cans into the air.
I mean, that last one sounds like an exciting day for an elementary school kid. I mean, the rest of that was horrifying. And,
yeah, well, except for the ones that were outside and started choking on the air and had to go to the hospital. But
that's an exciting day. You remember that day, you know.
Yeah. I mean, for the ones who did not have to go to the hospital, they'll remember that day. You know, basically how 9/11 was for us. It was kind of a fun day as far as school days go, but...
kind of makes me wonder, like, how that comes up, like, why the cops decide to release the pepper spray. I'm always imagining, like, I feel like cops like to show off in front of kids. They like to show how their gear works. I remember that, like, cops coming to my school growing up, and they'd be like, "This is my gun."
Yeah.
And be like, "What happens if we touch it? I will release it on you with no hesitation."
Yeah.
We'd be like, "Wow, that's awesome."
Yeah. Not a hypothetical, by the way. This is a real story, Kelly.
Yeah, that did happen.
Told me before.
I was standing in line for pizza with the school cop, and I was like, "What happens if I try to touch your gun?" He's like, "I will kill you."
Yeah.
But I feel like I've told that story here before. I don't know.
It's okay. But
throwback.
It's not, they weren't doing it in front of the kids. I guess their department was like nearby a school, and I don't know what the advised thing to do is when your pepper spray cans expire, but they decided to just empty them outside, and then they blamed the wind. They said, "We didn't realize the wind took it right to those innocent children. We apologize to the kids."
Okay.
But that's what happened, and the school had to be evacuated. So shout out Tuscola County, Michigan Police for their heartfelt apology. Now, what are we talking about today? Well, we got yet another case of the cops shooting a homeowner who called 911. We have an astronomical drug bust in Oregon, which ended up turning out to be not so astronomical. We have more stories about the police's disingenuous relationship with DUIs. And as mentioned in the headlines just a second ago, we'll be discussing the tragic death of Silvero Villegas-Gonzalez. And Kelly, what are we talking about on our Patreon? That's okay. I'll get it. On our Patreon this week, we'll be talking. It's fine. It's no big deal. It's okay. It's fine. On our Patreon this week, we'll be talking about the automated taxi Waymo's relationship with law enforcement, and we'll be discussing the Supreme Court's latest ruling on ICE. And that was my fault. I think since you last did the show, we've now included these preview things, and I didn't realize it's been that long. So I'll take responsibility for that. But before we dive into today's stories, we got a couple updates on previous stories we've covered. A lot of these stories. Most of these stories are kind of like ongoing, and so we got a couple updates. One, I think it was might have been our very first episode. Doug Harless was a man in Kentucky, right outside Louisville, where the police did a raid. They broke down his door, and they went to the wrong address. And so from Doug's perspective, he's getting home invaded. And so he's ready for the home invaders. He pulls out his gun, and the cops shoot and kill him. So a man just going about his day is just murdered by the police. And the update is that the lawsuit has now been filed officially. And so the family is going to attempt to take this to court and take this to trial. And we'll keep y'all updated on that as that unfolds. And then another update on a story that Kelly, I believe you were on for this episode, but in Monroe County, there was the case of, I believe his name was Bill Isbell. Isbell was his last name. I apologize, I forgot his first name. But he was a elderly man who started having a health episode in a bank, and the police arrived and ended up arresting him and putting like a hood over him, tying him to a chair, putting a spit hood over him. Absolutely insane, ridiculous behavior, elder abuse. He ended up dying in their custody. And the update is that 5 of those deputies and 2 nurses have been indicted on that death, which means a trial is coming there as well. So another story we'll keep y'all updated on as it unfolds. So now let's go on to what we're talking about today, the fresh news. We'll be starting here, going to Orange County, Florida, and I'll be reading here from CBS. Article headlined, Body Cam Video Shows Florida Deputy Accidentally Shooting a Homeowner During Home Invasion Call. The Orange County Sheriff's Office has released body camera video of a deputy shooting a homeowner as he was about to open his front door, and now the Florida Department of Law Enforcement is investigating. Deputies responded to a home in the 2600 block of Sheringham Road shortly after 3 p.m. on August 23rd after a report of a home invasion, the sheriff's office said. A preliminary investigation showed the victim, a man in his 40s, fired shots at 4 suspects who were attempting to break into his home before the deputies arrived. The 4 suspects fled on foot. When deputies got to the scene, the victim went to unlock the door, and one of the deputies accidentally discharged his firearm, striking the man. He was taken to a hospital with injuries described as not life-threatening and was released the same day. That deputy, identified as Alexis Paul, has been relieved of law enforcement duty and temporarily reassigned to administrative role, the sheriff's office said. Agree with that decision at the least. Got him on paperwork duty. Yeah.
I mean, it seems like more would be.
Yeah.
Keep him on spreadsheets or wherever they have him. I mean, that's horrible.
Yeah, of course. It would be nice if they fired the cop, disbanded the entire department, and reconfigured our society to where we fight the root problems of all of our health issues rather than endlessly policing the symptoms. But in the grand scheme of things, and the way cops react to their own shooting innocent people, at least he's off the streets temporarily. I mean, honestly, I'm joking because literally this is the go-to, the administrative leave, and apparently he's not even really on administrative leave. He's just they assigned him to paperwork duty. Yeah. We got to put you on paperwork. The chief's, the mayor's on my ass, but I got to be honest, that's some of the finest police work I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's horrible.
He had
And I wonder what is the admin role that a cop views as like a good punishment? Like, what do they really like? This is my hell. You don't understand.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I would rather be in jail right now. Trust me. But yeah, the video. I mean, like the article is very cut and dry. The video is insane. So here's what happens. You see the video starts from it's the perspective of the cop who fires the gun, and it's all of the police have surrounded this guy's door, and they all have their guns drawn, and immediately you're like, wait a minute. Wasn't this guy the victim of of a home invasion? Yeah. Why are they approaching this in this manner? You don't know. And one of the cops is like yelling inside, and he's like, "Go ahead and come out. And it's like right away, I'd be like, okay, could you chill for a second? Like not a chill really environment. Classic cops, they're fucking escalation experts. Mm-hmm. And so they're surrounding the victim of a robbery with their guns drawn. And then you see that from the perspective of the guy from the body cam, he draws his weapon, but as he draws his weapon, he fires it. And then you hear, oh! And right away, damn, he fucking shot the guy. And the guy's like, y'all shot me. And then the cop who's talking to him, not the one who fired the gun. This is kind of funny, honestly, because he was like, no, I didn't. Which is technically true.
It's like some Monty Python sketch.
It's like a Monty Python sketch, exactly. And the guy's like, "Yes, you did. You fucking shot me." And he's like, "I didn't shoot you." It's like, okay, I don't think this guy gives a shit about the tech. It's like when a parent catches like a bunch of siblings in trouble, and he's like, "Just come out," and then he goes out. He's limping. He's got shot in the leg. Thankfully, just in the leg. And he's like, "You fucking shot me." And he's like, "I'm telling you, I didn't shoot you." And he's like, "Just, calm down, sir." And Yeah, I don't know what it was. And the guy, I got to say it. It's unfortunate, but yeah, the guy was black. They shot. It's like, damn, really cannot catch a break when it comes to the police, whether it's intentional or just their like secret racist spidey sense. The guy just sensed the for him to pull the trigger a little bit and fire, that he could sense there was a minority on the other side of the door, and just fired away, and mission accomplished. They shot the guy in the fucking leg after he like got rid of the intruders. It's like, when they say like should you call the cops? Never call the cops. A lot of people say that.
Right.
And there's obviously not a definitive answer to that. But here's a case where he got rid of the robbers himself. And then, it's probably, you feel like it's a good idea to just get the police over to like make sure you got all your bases covered. You just fired your gun in your home, and the police show up, and somehow now you're going to the hospital because you have a bullet in your leg.
Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah.
Like, you want to, what if the guys come back with more people or whatever, but he did their job for them, and then they did the criminal job for them.
Yeah. Because the story usually is like, don't call the cops. Like, what's the point? Their only job is to possibly incriminate you somehow. And beyond that, they're not going to catch the person. They're not going to really have the capability to catch someone or do anything. But you wouldn't really expect they'll come and just shoot you. But that's what we have. And thank God, honestly, it just shot him in the leg. And we can just he's totally fine. He was just mostly just seemed pissed off and like kind of flabbergasted that he got shot. Yeah. He was walking fine. He was just clutching his leg, and he was like, "What the fuck, y'all?" And the guy was like, "I didn't shoot you," and he's fine. So we get to kind of have a ha-ha at how
now
dumb cops are.
Write that on the chalkboard every day for a couple weeks, and then he's
exactly. Yeah. Yeah, Officer Bart Simpson over here, but just ridiculous nonsense coming out of Florida. And I don't know what's going on in Florida, because me and Ashton also covered a story where also in Florida, they pulled over a man, again, a black man, and they got him out of the car, and the cop was like, "I'm going to search you," and he was like, "Okay. But before you search me, I'm just going to let you know I have a gun on me. I have a license to carry, and it's right here on my right side." And she goes, "That's fine, sir. That's totally your right. I'm just going to..." And then she pulls the trigger on his own gun and shoots him in the leg with his own gun. Oh my God. So I don't know what weird-ass pattern is developing here in Florida of accidentally shooting black men in the legs. When they're like not even being investigated for a crime, but it's weird. Just leave it at that.
To say the least.
Yeah, it's not a pattern. It's only two, but in my opinion, that's too many. That's just me. That's just Jafar Khan. But we got to move on to our next story. Kelly, you got this one. We're going to Chicago.
This is via CBS. Undocumented father killed by ICE agent in Franklin Park shooting had no criminal background, lawyer says, in Chicago. The undocumented father shot and killed by an ICE agent in Franklin Park, Illinois, only had a history of minor traffic violations, not a criminal record, according to his attorney. The Department of Homeland Security and U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement said Friday their agents were targeting Silvero Villegas-Gonzalez for arrest on Friday. They said he was a criminal who was in the county illegally, but his attorney, Manuel Cardenas, said that's not entirely true. Villegas-Gonzalez's family shared a photo of him to a GoFundMe page after his death on Friday, saying he had just dropped his two sons at school that morning. DHS says an ICE agent was trying to arrest him when he resisted and attempted to drive his car into agents. That's when DHS said an agent fatally shot Villegas-Gonzalez.
And just to interrupt you real quick, so what the footage we have of this incident is surveillance footage from, I don't know from where, some business or whatever. It's outside a building, and they caught it on tape. We don't have any body camera footage. ICE doesn't have to wear body camera footage. You know, they seem to be encouraged to just do whatever they want. But what DHS is saying is the narrative that they're trying to push is that this person tried to like ram them with their cars, and therefore they had no choice but to, you know, kill this guy. But instead, what you see is what you would kind of expect. It's like this guy, you know, he had just dropped his kids off to school, and now he's getting pulled over by ICE. I'm sure we all see the news, what's going on. People getting kidnapped, abducted by ICE, being sent to God knows where in hellish prison conditions outside the U.S. And we're seeing people dying in ICE custody or being killed. And this is an escalation of that because this guy was shot in the street. But it's clearly a guy who did not want to risk his life by getting abducted by ICE. And they were probably, you know, I'm assuming here, but already being aggressive, using their illegal, shady tactics, got him scared. So he just started driving away. He was not trying to ram into anyone. He was just trying to drive away and save his life. And you can't really see it from the footage, but they say one of the officers was being dragged by the car. And so from the little you can see, if you take that for face value, what you could piece together is that the ICE agent on the driver's side just didn't let go of his door and was therefore being pulled by the car, refusing to just let him go. And then you hear the gunshots fired a couple times, and this man was killed. Yeah, sorry, I just wanted to interrupt and
thank you for adding more. It's a horrible story, and it's such a familiar story now applied in this new context of ICE, but to just be chasing, you know, a suspect or someone you want to detain and to somehow not have the training or the empathy to chase someone rather than shooting them. It's just, we hear about it again and again, and it's...
Yeah. It's not a crime to resist. I mean, it is a crime to resist arrest, but it's not a death sentence to resist arrest. Like, if someone is resisting arrest, that's not like, oh, I have to open fire on this person and kill them. That is a ridiculous A to B jump, but the, you know, police lovers in the country that's what they love to point to. But yeah, not a death sentence to resist arrest. It is a crime, but not a death sentence. And furthermore, this guy was undocumented, but he was not a criminal. He had not, or I'll let you get back to the article, actually. That was the part you're about to get to, where they talk about his quote unquote, his lack of criminal history, put it that way.
Right. CBS News Chicago investigators found the 38-year-old father had 4 traffic violations between 2010 and 2019 for offenses including speeding, an expired driver's license, not having insurance, and not having a child restraint seat. Cardenas said he wants to see a full investigation into what happened in Franklin Park to prevent another person from dying over a traffic stop. Not all federal agents are required to wear body cameras, and it's unclear if there's any body camera video of this incident. The FBI's Chicago field office confirmed it has been informed of the situation and is helping with the investigation.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so insulting that what they're trying to do. I mean, we see this all the time, just like finding whatever criminal history this guy has. And what is it? He was speeding. He was driving without insurance. And this is their best attempt at creating a scary, undocumented criminal image for this guy who had literally just dropped his kids off at school.
Yeah. And it's just, they're running the same playbook they've been doing for so long with these like pretextual traffic stops, like, oh, he has one violation. That means we get to profile him and assume he's undocumented and harass him and scare him, and then he runs, and then we're assuming he's a criminal, and we're going to execute him on the spot. It's like all these things that have been set up for years that just normalize and allow them to do this. I know we're going to talk about it later in the Patreon, but
the Supreme
the
Court
way
decision
it's made legal for them to do this. They've been
to racially profile,
doing it for so long.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's horrible. But
and it's just the next further step. I mean, we're seeing a step-by-step escalation of like, it makes sense that this would keep going further in this chaotic process of like, people are going to resist. Who in their right mind would want to be detained by ICE after all we've seen? That in of itself is a death sentence. So you might as well escape that. It is life or death at that point. You know you have no rights. You know that people are dying in custody. You know people are getting fucking shipped to fucking Sudan, and it's like, people are going to take these risks. And what more do you expect? These are human beings.
Well, and for some people, yes to all that, and for a lot of asylum seekers, going to where you came from is death anyway. Like,
exactly.
You came here to seek asylum from a dangerous situation, and you can't go back. So you know you have zero options except to try to avoid going back.
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll continue covering this fucking horror, but
It's horrible.
But rest in peace, Silvero Villegas-Gonzalez, killed in Chicago by ICE. We got to move on now. We'll be going to Tigard, Oregon, and I'll be reading here from KOIN, headline, Astronomical Heroin Seizure in Oregon. I'm not going to finish the headline. I'm going to save it. Do a little reveal here. The 55.3 million fatal doses of heroin seized by law enforcement in Tigard last year turned out to be mostly water, according to an independent analysis. As KOIN 6 News previously reported, federal agents announced the arrest of 4 Mexican drug traffickers after they were caught transporting 8 55-gallon drums of a liquid narcotic in Tigard on January 2024. Originally, law enforcement believed the substance to be liquid fentanyl. I mean, what don't they consider to be fentanyl? I'll just go back to the article. Field tests later showed that 7 of the 8 drums contained heroin, according to court documents obtained by KOIN 6 News. Investigators said they believe the containers held 1,430 liters, weighing 1.4 metric tons of liquid heroin. The government, can you imagine? The government characterized the drug seizure as, quote, truly an astronomical amount, and heralded the mission as historic and unprecedented. Unprecedented is correct. They said that combined, they had recovered 55.3 million fatal doses. I'm sorry. Yeah, that sounds like a Batman villain amount. 55.3 million lethal doses of liquid heroin. But while the contents tested positive for heroin, no test was conducted to determine the concentration of heroin in the liquid. An independent analysis later requested by the defense attorney. I gotta love our legal system here in America. In theory, it helps sometimes. It found the independent analysis found that the drums were mostly water. Quote, recovery of usable heroin would require the evaporation of the water, the report said. There is approximately 390 gallons of water in the 7 drums which contain heroin. Therefore, the small amount of heroin dissolved in the water in each drum makes the recovery of usable solid heroin impractical. The total combined heroin in the 8 drums was between 22.1 and 25.3 grams, the report said. The drums contained 99.999% water and 0.001% of unusable heroin, the defense attorney said in a sentencing memorandum. So pretty disappointing to go from,
Yeah.
You know how cops love taking pictures of their drug busts? They'll put the table with they had 8 drums of liquid heroin. Pure liquid. It's pure, right? Nah, it's probably pure. Pure liquid heroin. And it turned out to be literally mostly water. And to the point, they said the 22, so you go from 8 multiple gallon drums of liquid heroin to 22 grams, or let me put it this way, 53 million lethal doses of heroin to 22 grams.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta say I relate to these cops in this situation because, like, I'm thinking of, like, the first time I, like, tried, like, kratom tea.
Yeah.
And someone was like, oh, you like have this tea. And I was like, oh, is this heroin? I was like, am I drinking heroin?
Yeah.
And then I'm like, no. But
I think you just really like
it
this.
Feels like it's like 0.00, 1%.
Turns out you just really liked kratom tea.
Turns out
it wasn't heroin.
I never did it again after that because it felt like that to me. But I did find myself Googling, like, can you drink heroin with this story? I feel like I'm about as qualified to do this drug bust as these cops are.
Yeah.
But I do relate. You know, I've been that person, like, drinking regular cough syrup and, like, thinking it's lean, you know?
Sure.
Like, we've all been that person.
I wouldn't say all, but some of us.
But you think, like, what is it, like... maybe this is not a good question, but like, what is liquid heroin?
It would just this article definitely provides more questions than answers.
Because I thought it's like something like people they inject it or they like.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what liquid heroin is. Even more befuddled, I don't know why these people were driving around like just 22 grams of heroin in this method of giant drums of 99.999% water. Yeah. I tried looking it up. There's not really any information on what exactly seems to be going on here. But I do have an analogy. Not an analogy, but here's how I relate to it. When I was in college, I worked for a little while at our neuroscience lab, and the professor I was working for was studying addiction, and he had 2 little experiments going on. One was about nicotine addiction, and the other was about cocaine addiction. And he was showing me, he had just hired me, and he was showing me around the lab, and he opened up this closet door, and it was all these shelves filled with all these vials of liquid vials. And he goes, this is all liquid cocaine. And I was like, whoa. And he was like, and I should tell you, the last person who worked here, basically the person I was replacing, stole a bunch of the liquid cocaine and was arrested for that.
Okay.
And he said, so don't do that. And I should tell you that the amount of liquid cocaine he stole, like all these vials, is not enough for 1 dose of a human to get high. Because they were for rats.
Right.
They were like literally lab rats.
Yeah.
So maybe it was for rats. Maybe it was rat doses for like some maybe these guys were similar to the guy I replaced, and they robbed a lab, a neuroscience lab,
right?
And we're trying to transport it across. I don't know. That's the best I can do with understanding your question of like why liquid heroin.
Well, it's just I feel like the common theme today, or in general, is like escalation of these traffic stops, like that they like. I guess like marijuana, being decriminalized now, like they need to stop people. They're stopping people for gallons of water and being like, maybe there's heroin in it. Like they don't know
what's in these gallons. Fentanyl? Is this fentanyl?
They have their old playbook. Like we have to stop everyone for drugs, but like a lot of it's legal. The water is poison.
Ma'am, you dropped your fentanyl. That's my purse. Oh,
Yeah.
all right. Well, go on, ma'am. Go on. Good day. I mean, these people. The paranoia is hilarious, but I do wish we had more answers here.
Yeah.
What is going on?
I have a lot of questions.
Yes. But regardless, hilarious. Thank you, cops in Oregon, for that story. Yeah. And next, we got a couple stories about DUI involving the police.
Okay.
So yeah, Kelly, you got this one. We're going to Buffalo, New York.
Erie County Sheriff's Chief hit 7 cars but wasn't charged.
And we're reading from WGRZ.
WGRZ. Officer Daniel Granville, that rhymes too. There's a lot of rhyming here. Officer Daniel Granville was involved in a series of late-night crashes nearly a year ago on Buffalo's west side. 2 on Your Side investigates has learned. In 3 separate collisions while he was off duty, Granville struck or damaged a total of 7 parked cars with his Erie County-owned pickup truck, according to public records obtained by 2 on Your Side. The collisions, which cost taxpayers about $60,000 on settlements paid to people whose cars were damaged, appear to have resulted in few, if any, consequences for Granville. He faced no criminal charges. There is no indication that he was asked to take a breathalyzer test. And he remains in the leadership post that paid him $214,000 last year. But the Internal Affairs Division of the Buffalo Police Department is now looking into why Granville received such light treatment and whether his sister-in-law, who is a Buffalo police lieutenant, had something to do with it.
Ooh, I think Internal Affairs might be onto something there.
Yeah. Shortly before midnight on April 11th, 2024, Granville was off duty and driving his Dodge Ram pickup truck owned by the Erie County Sheriff's Office. According to Buffalo police reports obtained by 2 on Your Side, Granville was less than a mile from his home when he struck a Toyota Highlander and a Toyota Camry on Jersey Street near the intersection on Prospect Avenue. His vehicle then turned south on Prospect, heading in the wrong direction on a one-way street. The pickup struck a Toyota SUV, causing that car to smash into a Toyota Corolla. What's the issue with Toyota? This is like kind of like a really like fucked up commercial for Dodge Ram. Like, fuck Toyota. Yeah. If you see a Toyota, wreck it. Granville then continued to block down Prospect, driving in the wrong direction before his car struck a Chevrolet Equinox and a Jeep Grand Cherokee that were facing northbound, the report said. Granville's vehicle crossed Hudson Street and struck a 7th vehicle, a Dodge minivan. Okay, he doesn't discriminate. Before coming to a stop.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely ridiculous. You hear like, okay, he hit 7 cars, parked cars. You know, your first instinct is like, okay, he was driving and like he hit a car and they like kind of hit each other. No, he was driving, he hit a car, kept driving, hit and run, and hit another car, kept driving, and it just became a hit and run and run and run and run and run.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely... Like not a normal car accident by any means. That's why immediately people are asking about, was he drunk? Because this is not like a regular fender bender. This is like the mayor's son type of driving where you just keep going. You have no intent to even consider a consequence as you're plowing your way to your home, destroying the cars, by the way, of all of his neighbors. These are his neighbors.
Yeah, that's like lucid dream numbers of like cars hit.
Exactly,
like, I'm in a dream. I guess I'm just gonna hit all the cars.
Ding, ding, ding. Yeah.
La la la. Gotta get one more.
Yeah.
Gotta get one more.
Ooh, say it.
Chevrolet. Chevy.
Yeah, should have
Like
went with
a
Chevy.
rock. Yeah.
Nice.
The way I feel about cops, a lot of times it does feel like they're like kind of living like they're in a GTA game.
Exactly.
But
You're
this
exactly
guy's
correct.
like taking it to another level of
Yeah.
like Mario Kart, bumper cars.
Yeah.
It's like, might as well. It's
Yeah.
like, what are they gonna do?
Exactly. He's like
Call the cops.
Yeah, he's like, ooh, I just got a star. It's just plowing
Yeah.
through everyone. It's like,
Yeah.
there's gonna be consequences, bro.
5 more Toyotas.
Yeah.
It's like that game we played the other day where it's like you try to collect as many things as possible. You're driving around the, we were talking about. You can cut this
No,
out,
what game? What game?
It's like it's a video game where you're driving around and you like try to collect as many
Yes.
cars
Yes.
and things as possible until it falls into the
Yeah, it starts with a K. A lot of the fellow video game nerds will know. It's like a place you collect stuff, you roll around, you get a big ball. It was like that.
yeah.
I wish there was a.
You get 10 more Toyotas
Yes.
and then.
I mean, if we would have gracefully
to the next
landed that,
level.
if we would have gracefully landed that reference,
I knew
that
the reference.
yeah,
I mean, when I pulled GTA out and I said GTA instead of Grand Theft Auto, I was really proud of myself.
yeah, I was proud too.
And I thought I was going to pull a second one, but I wasn't.
Flew too close to the sun.
Yeah, I should have stopped. I was like, I said Mario Kart. I was
Yeah.
like, can I get one more?
You're crushing it.
Like, I
yeah.
don't even play games like that.
Cool girlfriend alert.
Yeah, I've been picked. Sorry, girls. You should have played more games.
Yeah. And so this has been kind of an ongoing saga in Buffalo because, Buffalo is not like a big giant city. And so it's a little smaller city. And here we have a cop who is not trying to it's a normal thing. Cop gets drunk, hits another car. Is able to get away with it because whoever that victim was can't really do anything about it. But what if there's 2 victims and 3 victims and 4 victims and 5 victims? Now this cop can't really escape the path of carnage he left on his way home. And people are asking them questions. I mean, it's hilarious. If you look up the videos, the chief is being asked questions by the press. This motherfucker is sweating, trying to come up with a reason of why this guy is not being investigated for a DUI because it is impossible to deny. Anyone can defend I got an offender bender, but 7 hit and runs in a row is just completely indefensible, but they are attempting to defend it and they're just attempting to sweep it under the rug. And obviously the town of Buffalo is absolutely infuriated by this because it's just absurd and it's so in your face. And it's gonna be a little theme of this episode today because this is kind of a thing that you don't need anyone to tell you this if you know anything about policing in America that this would be a thing. Cops getting away with drinking and driving. Cops get in such terrible DUI accidents that it's unavoidable. Sometimes they'll get in trouble. But also, cops are fucking hitting pedestrians all the time. Just one of our headlines this very episode was the cop in Washington who was drinking and driving and struck a man and killed him. And she just got convicted of vehicular manslaughter. But, she killed a guy. But many, many times that this shit is, they try their hardest to sweep it under the rug. And the New York Times just came out with an article that this week that they're beginning an investigation into specifically cops in New York. And they had so many examples in their article. I was waiting for the Buffalo one, and they didn't. They didn't even include that one. That's how many examples there were. And I was like, you know what? Let's just launch with the Buffalo one because I find that one the most personally amusing for this podcast. But it's a whole thing going on.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much they sweep under the rug. I've literally even seen before a cop in New York hit a man
Oh yeah, another story Kelly has.
like
yeah,
chasing maybe chasing a car that ran a red light. Who knows why they were chasing the car?
Mm-hmm.
And they just hit a guy, and they just kept chasing the car.
Crazy.
And I looked at, and the guy, everyone swarmed, the guy had to go to the hospital. He was hit by a speeding car. And we kept waiting for the cop to like turn around and come back and check on the guy. It didn't come back. And I looked up for like weeks thinking it was going to be a news story, or at least I would find evidence that it happened, like some kind of blurb. Found nothing. And it made me wonder like how much this happens all the time, that they somehow make it not even be a news story.
Yeah.
Like just, that was like a hit and run. But
That's insane.
But it was a cop.
Mm-hmm.
And I know they're not supposed to chase people like that because of
exactly that.
It's dangerous, but they do it all the time.
Yeah.
They'll do it even just when they don't feel like going in a red light.
It becomes an ego thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
they get to drive recklessly.
They get to do Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
They get to do GTA.
Yeah.
And it's just something, Americans generally, we would probably all take it for granted. Like, we see the cops trying to cover up murdering us, so we would take it for granted that they're going to try covering up like lesser crimes, like just DUI, drinking and driving. And we're going to talk about both sides of policing and DUIs. So our next story, we're going to Honolulu. And I'm reading here from the Honolulu Civil Beat. This is a great article, by the way. They do a kind of a deep dive here. We'll just be reading excerpts. But I like this article because, I'll just read it. So the headline is, HBD tried to fire this cop. He's retiring with a giant pension instead. So this article is about a lot more than DUI, but it is very it relates to what we're talking about right now. So as a final goodbye to policing, Officer Darren Cachola distributed a flyer inviting family and friends to a retirement party on August 22nd. It reads, "The man, the myth, the legend," and contains a photo of a protester holding a sign with Cachola's face next to the face of Derek Chauvin, the Minneapolis police officer convicted of killing George Floyd, and George Zimmerman, the Florida Neighborhood Watch volunteer who shot and killed Trayvon Martin. So just establishing the character of this guy,
right.
That in his retirement party, he photoshopped a little joke flyer that had him on a protest sign with the faces of Derek Chauvin and George Zimmerman. So right off the bat, piece of shit we're dealing with here. And excerpts I did not include in this article is the fact that multiple times he's been arrested for domestic violence, for beating up his wife in front of their children multiple times. So just sort of a little setup of the person we're dealing with here in Honolulu. So even though Cachola is off the force now, his behavior will have lasting consequences for the department and taxpayers. The administrative sergeant is being sued by the ACLU for his actions supervising DUI checkpoints where attorneys say more than 100 sober drivers were arrested for driving under the influence. Staffing at the checkpoints was paid as overtime through a grant, which incentivized the officers to work the checkpoints and make more arrests. Cachola raked in major amounts of overtime in his final 3 years on the force. During his last year as an officer, he claimed more than 2,300 hours of overtime, the equivalent of working roughly 45 extra hours a week every single week of the year. So this guy is he doesn't even give a shit. He's just pumping up. I mean, there's no way you could have that much time to be working 40 hours plus 40 more hours plus catching all these cases, domestic. I mean, it's just, there's not enough hours in a day for one man. And I chose this article because, well, one, this was published this week along with a article updating the saga in Nashville, Tennessee, where hundreds of sober drivers have been arrested and charged with DUI. It's been happening in Colorado. Here we have it happening in Hawaii. And the reporting in Tennessee and Colorado, it's good reporting, but from what I've seen, they don't aren't really asking why is this a phenomenon all over the country right now where people are getting arrested, getting pulled over, accused of DUI, blowing a 0.0 on the breathalyzer, and still getting charged with DUI, upending their life, ruining their life completely, going to court, and then getting the charges finally dropped after a whole nightmare saga. But this article gives a window into the incentives at place that have been causing this phenomenon that we've been seeing the last couple years. I don't know for how long this could be going on. Probably a long time, but it seems like it's only recently that it's making local headlines that journalists are putting together that this is a pattern.
Well, I'm very curious how it correlates with marijuana being decriminalized because for how many years cops have been trained and encouraged to pull over as many people as possible and search them for marijuana and arrest them and to have all these traffic stops.
Probable cause.
That's their whole playbook is pull people over for a headlight or whatever bullshit thing they come up with and then find the marijuana. But if they don't have that anymore, if they can't do that, but they're still completely, overpaid and overstaffed, they still have to meet their quotas. And then what are they supposed to do? They have to find somebody what's still illegal? They can't be drunk. So we'll say they're drunk.
That's a very, very interesting point. I never thought of that.
I mean, that's just what
could
comes
be related.
To mind of because these traffic stops, that used to be the whole point.
Yeah,
is finding marijuana, find a reason to search people.
Yeah,
any amount.
Yeah,
arrest them.
Yeah,
so.
And overtime is a huge thing for cops. Police officers around the country rely on crazy amounts of overtime to double their salary, and they really count on it as being a part of their salary. They depend on it. And so that creates all these various not so good incentives to how to earn that overtime. And DUI is a really easy and big one because cops for one, they all that processing and stuff my shift's about to be over. Well, if I pull someone over and take them in for DUI, there's overtime. I get to spend that time processing. And I learned recently that when those same cops who made that arrest, they can, when they show up, this is in a lot of counties, when they show up to court, that is further overtime hours. Yeah. And of course, it doesn't matter the verdict, the people will get off. There's no evidence whatsoever that they were drunk. They blew zero, and so they're free. But this becomes a reliable part of cops' overtime matrix to the point where we have towns like Nashville, Honolulu, places in Colorado, all over the country where there are literally hundreds of people being arrested for DUI sober. So let's get back here. Going back to the article, so this it's referring here to the 45 extra hours a week every single week of overtime. This also means he more than doubled his salary in his final year of work, vastly boosting his pension. Retirement payments for most government workers are based on the average of their highest 3 years of earnings. For those for those hired before 2012, the average includes overtime. Taxpayers could be on the hook for more than $200,000 a year for the rest of Cochola's retirement, which, by the way, just means for the rest of his life. So this is a fucking heist this guy pulled. Yeah. In 1 year, I'm going to log 45 hours a week of overtime, and that's going to pay off not just in this year's salary, but every fucking year for the rest of my life on the taxpayer's bill.
Yeah, it's basically the cops make commission on if they
They
find
do,
crime.
yeah.
It's like,
Literally.
it makes sense for sales, but like you are then going to want to find crime where there is no crime because otherwise you're not getting paid.
Yeah. Every night, this fool's going out and arresting sober people for DUI. And ruining life on a nightly basis. One person a night, raking it up, thinking about whatever like retirement boat he's gonna get. It is literally sociopathic behavior. How could you live with yourself doing this shit?
Yeah, well, when you make a meme comparing yourself to George Zimmerman, then I think you're living with a lot there.
Yeah, I mean, yes. Cachola managed to stay out of the news for several years. And, this part of the article was referencing, again, I excluded all of his insane domestic violence arrests.
Yeah.
Again, this guy, like you just said, no need to question that guy's a psycho. So he stayed out of the news for several years before resurfacing as a defendant in the lawsuit the ACLU filed in May over what it says were 127 arrests of drivers for DUI who were later found to have no alcohol in their systems. Cachola was one of the officers supervising a DUI checkpoint in Waipio. Apologize for the pronunciation, Waipio, on the night of November 7th, 2023. The main plaintiff in the lawsuit, Eamon Fapule, apologize again, was the first car to drive through the checkpoint that night and was arrested for driving under the influence of marijuana and or prescription medication. He lost his license, but was later reinstated by the Administrative Driver's License Revocation Office. The lawsuit says officers running the checkpoints had a, quote, one-and-done policy, under which they could shut down a checkpoint after making a single arrest and head home, but still be paid for their full shift. So they're just absolutely gaming the system here, cutting corners, skimming from the top wherever they can, and the only cost is ruining someone's life every night, one by one.
Yeah.
Just, all right, boys, I think we're done for the night. Happy hour time. And then they go and get wasted, and then they drive home, probably. I mean, based on what we've been.
A couple cars on the way.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah, I bounced my way home and made it home fine. Thanks for the did you make it home safe text. I did actually. Appreciate it. Back here. One woman was arrested for a DUI after she was pulled over for not having her headlights on and a burnt out tail light. An 18-year-old was pulled over and arrested for a DUI after his truck skidded in the rain. Both blew a 0.000 on breathalyzer test they were given at the police station. The lawsuit does not say how many checkpoints Cachola helped supervise, nor how many people he arrested. HPD received about $1.2 million in federal grants in 2025 to conduct impaired driving enforcement, including publicized sobriety checkpoints, according to Hawaii Department of Transportation grant application. Records show Cachola's overtime increased dramatically in recent years. Data obtained by Civil Beat show Cachola claimed no overtime in 2020, 2021, or 2022. In 2023, he claimed just over 1,420 hours. The following year, he logged 1,460 hours. And in 2025, the year before his retirement, he logged 2,375 hours. And I think it's very telling he had none before. None.
So with these with these arrests, do we know for sure they get it dropped? Or
we don't know for sure. It's just
because I was thinking about like how you can say someone's driving while high on weed, but you can't really prove it.
Yeah.
And how cops can do that, but like being able to blow, you can prove you weren't drunk.
That's a good point.
I wonder if he can, how that stuff.
Yeah,
how
that's a
this all
good point.
pans out.
That's a good point. I know that I was more so referencing that the cops don't really care for a conviction. They have no skin in the game. They're just there to get their overtime pay. So a lot of these cases do get thrown out. But yeah, that you raise a good point to raise, that there could be people locked up right now that are victims to this, that the court did not side with them. Mm-hmm. And, I bet, it's just a guess, but I bet that is the case. But I like they included this because here we have, I'm going to read here again, that HPD received $1.2 million in federal grants to conduct, impaired driving enforcement. And so here we have another example of like this terrible incentive scheme. Mm-hmm. And so this is how the federal government works to get states to oblige with their wishes. And it's like, okay, they want us to be driving safely out in these streets. They want us to not be drinking and driving. So how do they do it? Well, they offer grants to the police, but those grants have strings attached, and those strings attached comes with basically quotas. They aren't quotas. They're not allowed to do quotas, but they're called, quote, performance targets. And so a quota would be like, hey, y'all got to arrest, 1,000 people this year for DUI. They're not allowed to do that. But what they are allowed to do is be like, one cop working an 8-hour shift DUI should arrest 1 or 2 people per shift. So that's not a literal quota in terms of a flat number, but it is basically a quota in terms of what it effectively is doing, which is pushing them to make these arrests.
Yeah.
And so not only do they have the overtime incentive, but the department as a whole has the grant incentive to just up these numbers, regardless of the reality of what's going on the streets.
Yeah, 100%. It's like the subtext is the carceral state needs bodies.
Damn.
Marijuana is legal.
Mm-hmm.
Find something, find a gallon of water, put a little drop of heroin in it.
Yeah.
And get them in there.
Exactly.
They need something, and they don't have as much as they used to.
Yeah.
And they have to find a way to keep running this same playbook.
Exactly.
And whatever it's going to be, find new groups of people to label terrorists, bomb a boat in Venezuela.
Mm-hmm. Crash your car on the way to the precinct.
Find people, put them in the prisons. That's what it all seems to come back to.
Yeah.
But it's horrible. I don't know how y'all
do this podcast. Yeah.
Well, I mean, how you always find ways to make jokes, because I'm just I'm getting,
Yeah. Hey, who invited Debbie Downer to our fun podcast this week?
Yeah, I remember someone we know last time I was on. It was it wasn't really. You're not really coming in with the zingers.
Yeah.
I'm sad.
It's not really ha-ha comedy.
Sorry, I'm not Ashton.
Yeah. And this is a lighter episode. Man, you should be here for our sad ones. It's rough.
Yeah, when I tune in.
Oh, you tune in? That makes me feel good. Thanks. Thanks, babe. Well, that was our episode. Thanks for listening. Join us on our Patreon. We'll be talking about the Supreme Court, ICE, and Waymos. Appreciate y'all listening. And thank you, Kelly, for being here.